Welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 In, 3 Out, the most unique Seahawks podcast in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. Come on out and follow me on Twitter at Clinton Bon. And I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz, and find him out on Twitter at Seahawkers Pod. And Brandon, let's always remind the folks if they're seeing this out on YouTube, right, to do the thing.
Do the thing, hit the subscribe button, all the other things. That way, hit the notification bell. That's the other one, so you can know when things go live.
That's the big one. We are just, like prices at Dan flashes. We're going up.
Do you have to do both though? Do you have to do the subscribe and the bell, or can you pick one?
Well, you could pick one. That's a great question. I know you could subscribe without hitting the bell. I wonder if you could hit the bell and not subscribe. I wonder if there's a if P then Q modus tollens thing happening there. But they are different. I know they serve a different function where the bell will let you know when we're going live. And the whole thing is you, me, Adam, guest stars. We've been going live a lot, way more often. And the proof is in the pudding because lots more content and a lot more people now tuning in, streaming it, and also getting it from YouTube, which is freaking awesome. So for those who maybe you might be new to 3 In, 3 Out, because we got some new people chiming in, which is so cool. So for the folks that don't know about it, we like to look at, this is like kind of the opportunity to look at some of the Seahawks stuff, sometimes from a different angle. Like during the year, we're going to get into the nooks and the crannies and the little buttery goodness of, singular plays and the micro moments we're talking about in the off season. We just got out of really a awesome draft season there. That finale for Seattle was a beautiful draft, but we're going to bring a slightly different flavor to what you've probably already digested 2, 3, 4, 7 times over, 12 times over, if you will, as a Seahawks fan, because there's more to talk about here when you get to the next layer. So Brandon, you've talked with a ton of different people now at this point. So let's start with the fun stuff. Just top to bottom. We'll get to this curious stuff we've got queued up for today, this mysterious stuff. However, top to bottom, favorite pick, whatever, most emotional, biggest impact. I don't care how you slice it. Favorite pick of this draft. Who'd you love?
Well, I know there's a big portion of, well, maybe not. There is a portion of the fan base that is probably just gonna not be super happy with my pick, but it was a guy that I wanted going into this draft, and the Seahawks got him. I wanted Ken Walker for the Seahawks running back, and they went out and got him. And so that's what made me happy. I looked at the running backs. They're fun to watch. And so of the ones that seemed like they were Seahawky type picks, he was the guy that I wanted out of all of them. And sometimes to get a good one, you have to pick him early, and second round seems early enough. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Second round, Nick Chubb, second round, Derrick Henry, second round, Jonathan Taylor, just a few dudes who went early second round who are, I don't know, the best running backs in pro football at this point. Right.
And by the way, that tipped me to it too, was talking to EJ, and because I would have liked to have gotten a center in the draft. And it seemed like Linderbaum was the guy who, if he would have been in there in the second round and they would have taken Walker over Linderbaum, then I probably would have been a little bit more iffy. But when EJ said that Cam Jurgens is, not a day one right away, plug and play, like sure thing type player, that's what sold me on the Walker pick. So of the other guys, I like them. We talked before about how offensive line, not real sexy as far as the picks go, and they wouldn't have gotten me super excited. Right. And then Mafe for the pass rusher, I like him and like what I've seen from him. So it comes down, and then really after the third round, there's nobody to get like really excited about. You can get a little excited, but
we'll talk today. We'll keep on.
With Walker, he's a dude who could he'll probably be touching the ball 15 times a game.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else that you could have picked up that you could say that about.
No, I listen. If Charles Cross touches the ball 15 times a game, we have challenges. Problems. We have challenges, right? And he's not George Fent, right? No, but I want to honestly, that's my favorite too. And I like running the football. I value a team. I look at this team and I go, all right, well, we're probably rolling with Drew Lock at this point. I know Geno's in the mix, but okay, I think it's going to be Drew Lock when it all shakes. And the team we're forming around this guy, if he could be a, manage the game type guy, it's actually telling you, we're building a pretty good team really quickly. Dude, Kenneth Walker III, he's phenomenal. Like go put on the freaking tape and enjoy. Watch what we just brought into this team. And I'm with you. It's like, to me, the most exciting. I think he's probably going to have the biggest, potential biggest year one impact. And hey, you want the running backs in their first 4 years when they're like 22 to 26 years old, and you want to run the crap out of them while they're super young and honestly fairly inexpensive compared to the rest of the NFL. I love the pick. I thought it was absolutely, smash home run. And we'll talk a bit more later about some other pockets of Seahawks Twitter and stuff like that, maybe had a different opinion. So that's kind of the chalk portion of our show today, was because I hadn't talked to you too much about that since the draft. Just who do we love, right? And there's a lot to love here in the entire class for sure.
So now on to the rest, the buttery goodness without the nooks and the crannies.
Right. Yeah. There's no nooks and crannies yet, but the pat of butter is there. It's maybe melting on top of some penne pasta. I don't know. Are your kids still into like the noodles and butter as opposed to
you do the penne. You kind of do a rotation. You got the penne, you got the bow tie. It usually has to be in the shape of something. So, and then the spirals. Yeah,
you do realize that like everything is in the shape of something. So I'm not sure what the
I mean the linguine style noodles it's generally not the go-to. I'm talking about more compact.
I got you. I now I get it. I'm a rigatoni fan. Give me that big fat rigatoni and a nice bolognese or alla vodka sauce, and away we go. And for the kids too, the pat of butter, the Parmesan, and they're happy campers, which I still enjoy. So yeah, so we're gonna go there for these next segments too. So when I looked at this, and there was a lot of talk also, Brandon, about kind of the idea that the Seahawks really did some smart things, which is great to hear, but also they did a lot of double dipping, right? They double dipped the chip across the board. So you got your Charles Cross, then you go get your Abe Lucas. By the way, loved Abe Lucas's press conference that came out, I think yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Dude just seems like huge, legit, like really holds himself in a, I don't know, kind of an alpha way. But you got that as a first double dip. You get Mafe, and then you back that up with Tyreke Smith. Talk about EJ again. He was really, really high. So 2 edge guys really high on Smith where we got him. You go get Kobe Bryant. You back that up with the freak athlete with Tariq Woolen. And then later you also get, now does he pronounce it? Is it Derek or Derek? I don't know yet on the wide receiver from the small school.
I've really only heard it said Derek.
It's spelled that way. So, Derek, and then Bo's a little bit easier. Bo Melton from Rutgers. So you double dip.
Hard to screw up, Bo.
Yeah, hard to screw up there. So of those, and that's the obvious double dips, so the surface ones, because obviously we just took those dudes. But of those double dips, it's like where do you think we really kind of nailed the pair? What excites you about that pair?
I think where they nailed the pair is on the offensive line, because they didn't have any tackles. We talked about it going into the draft. The Seahawks needed tackles. They didn't have any. And so to go out and get dudes who could play tackle it's kind of important. Again, not exciting, but important. And they found guys that I think in pretty good spots. Obviously with the 9th overall, it wasn't one of the top 2 guys that I know that we had wanted, but it was still what was left. And when you're picking number 9, unfortunately, in a draft like this where there were, I get maybe 7 guys that they really would have been happy about, because I don't know, Johnson was the kind of other pass rusher that I think we were pegging as a potential guy for the Seahawks. But the fact that they maybe didn't go up and get him toward the back end of the first round maybe says to me that maybe they weren't going to go after Jermaine Johnson after all. So getting the left tackle, going out, getting a dude who plays right tackle. The cool thing is he played right tackle in college. And so many of the other guys, when you select them, they're left tackles in college, and then they end up moving to the right side. And this guy he just gets to keep playing on the right side like a normal right tackle.
Yeah, which is nice because, we've heard other analysts talk about that. It's really a huge change to go relearn and mirror that if you're just not used to it. So it is kind of nice.
I play golf as a righty. If someone said to me that, yes, if you want to be on the golf team, you got to switch to a lefty, I may struggle with that for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a bad golfer to start. And then if I had to go play lefty, I think I would probably just go, just crash just take my cart over the nearest hill and just call it a life. That's it. I can't do that to myself. But you said before, and again, just now that like, hey, the OT tackle pairing is not sexy, but it's foundational. Totally, but it's like, yeah, but your infrastructure to your house or the bricklaying, the foundation. Yeah, it might not be the glitz and glam on the outside, but guess what? Without it, you don't have a house. Like, just doesn't exist, right? It's and therefore it has a sexiness. It's just a different type of sexiness for me. And then from a real sexy,
the same level of sexiness as 2x4s.
Oh, definitely. Man. Absolutely. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the whole thing already, the American flag, I love it. I love it, man. So if we're talking about a different double dip that I'm really excited about, it's not the Bo Melton and Tyreke Young pairing per se. It is, for me, the Bo Melton back-to-back with D. Eskridge last year. So taking it back to last year I'm like, hey man, we have got to find that third wide receiver. Freddie Swain doing a nice job. He looks like a great, like really good fourth, wide receiver NFL. Can he play third? Maybe, but he kind of does the similar things that Tyler does, but just not as good, not quite there yet, which to me means, okay, pretty good fourth. But that really special talent of what I think D. Eskridge could still be, and what I think Bo is also, man, dude running a 4.3 something. He was recruited to all sorts of places, went to Rutgers because his parents, I think, taught there is what I heard, or went there, originally. They went there. So he was kind of just kind of following their footsteps. That's kind of cool. But Rutgers was a disaster. And I love the idea of the double dip is nice because if you miss on one, well, your chances with redundancy of hitting on one is much, much greater. And I think what the Seahawks were doing with Bo is still looking for that third wide receiver that is the D. Eskridge type. However, Brandon, then I went and watched quite a bit of Bo Melton tape. There's plenty of highlights out there. Yeah. And
does he remind you of D, though, when you watch his highlights?
No.
Yeah. Which Seahawks receiver does he remind you of?
Tyler Lockett.
Exactly.
That he is not, he's not around the line of scrimmage. He is not really, can he work the middle? Sure. But he's not working the middle. He is like a master craftsman on the way he sets people up. He's got jets, but he's not twitchy fast out there. He's just fast. And how about the toe tapping? And we probably saw that highlight too. Toe tapping in the back of the end zone. He looks like a professional, polished guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the K-State Tyler Lockett video, but just on a Rutgers team that was kind of crappy. But man, Bo Melton, he is not the D. Eskridge pair. He is the heir apparent to, I think, Tyler Lockett in 2 to 3 more years.
It felt like that to me watching it too, because I went into it, maybe you went into that way too, thinking that, okay, with the speed, yes, they're just looking for a guy who can be similar to Eskridge, maybe play some special teams. But yeah, the way that, and I think a lot of it was just with the way that he used his feet.
Yes,
reminded me of Tyler, and yeah, I couldn't get that out of my head after watching that.
Yeah, because you watch Tyler even back then, it's like, okay, the dude's quick, but he wasn't like twitchy quick. He was always very, always fast. But there's a difference. There's kind of a difference in that type of D. Eskridge that is that scatty, suddenness that he has. Tyler doesn't have suddenness. He's just fast. And, and of course he's lost a little bit of step after breaking his leg real badly, but he still gets tremendous separation on the flag and posts and all that jazz. that's exactly what Bo Melton looked like. It wasn't like, oh, he went from 0 to, oh my God, Tyreek Hill quick. It was just, oh, he's opening it. Oh, look how he set that DB up or that safety up and drew him. Like, oh, he's wide open again. Now the Rutgers quarterback, throw him
had
behind.
Trouble hitting him.
Yeah, had trouble hitting him. But that was kind of cool because then you got to see Bo get up and get contested balls too. And man, the tape to me, I was like, holy crap, we got a 7th rounder who is screaming to me that this guy could be, of course, our next Tyler Lockett. And that was super exciting. And, I know we now are mentioning EJ Snyder for the 3rd time, but I also know that him and many others had a much higher grade on Bo Melton than a 7th grader. So that was super exciting. Man.
7th rounder, but yeah.
What did I say? 7th grader? Yeah, not a 7th grader. Right. And I haven't even had a drink yet. We talked about this. Jeez.
Oh man. Yeah. Where are we going next?
Yeah, no problem. Let's get out of middle school, right? Let's get out of there. So, all right. So the next area that I was thinking of, Brandon, that's like, okay, the obvious stuff and then the not so obvious stuff to talk about. To me, it's like we go get Tariq Woolen. That is the rangy, wiry freak athlete. What do you run, a 4.26?
It was 4.2. Who runs 4.2? Honestly,
who throws a shoe? Not me. I don't run a 4.2, man. I have pondered. I'm like,
I could run a 4.2. I could easily run a 4.2. It just depends on the amount of distance we're talking about here.
Sure. Exactly. That's correct. And so, you get the Woolen pick and it's exciting, small school at USTA, I think. Right. And obviously
UTSA, yeah.
UTSA,
you still haven't had a drink.
Grader, whatever it is. Right. So tomato, potato, whatever, however you want to slice this thing. So you get Tariq, and that's the Pete Carroll pick, and they're gonna try to mold that guy and bring him into the system. Now the non-obvious thing I want to talk about is I want to write a little love letter to DJ Reed. Okay. I want to say, I know he's gone. I know he took the money. I can't blame him. I kind of wish we still re-signed him. He's off to the Jets, which, by the way, the Jets are building. I've been saying it for over a year now. The Jets are building a very, very good team. He's over to the Jets. They're quite good. Speaking of Jermaine Johnson, right? They're the ones who came back up and got Jermaine Johnson.
And they got Gardner with the 4th pick.
The Jets are building a very good football team, which is fine. Yeah, good. Go ahead. Just go be good, because it only happens like once every 30 years for that franchise. It's all good. It really does. They've been dreadful. And with that,
Pennington, the last successful era of Jets teams.
Yeah, Pennington. Well, yes, and
the 1 year of Favre.
Well, no, Sanchez went to back-to-back.
Oh, right.
AFC championships. Yeah, okay. So we got to give a little
the Rex Ryan years.
Yeah, the sexy Rexy. But the non-obvious part that I want to write the love letter to DJ Reed is saying, hey, listen, DJ Reed came in off of the scrap heap of the Niners. So they didn't think he'd get picked up. Super savvy. We bring him in. And it kind of proved that we can go with the shorter arm guy. Maybe not the short guy, but the shorter arm guy that doesn't have to be the exact mold that we always take. We take Trey Brown last year, Boomer Sooner. Dude, I was in love with Trey Brown before the injury. He was showing out so nicely, so excited for him to be back. And then this year we go ahead and we take Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant, he's a little taller, right? But we're talking about that. He's not the prototypical guy. He's not that fast. Doesn't have the long arms. And I kind of want to all trace it back and say, DJ Reed, kind of thank the maker that when you came in and stepped up and played, it broke the pattern of saying we have to go get this kind of guy. And it has really opened the aperture quite a bit. And I'm excited for a player like Kobe Bryant. I think just straight up a really good sound corner. And I'm super excited to see if he can maybe win one of those cornerback spots as we head into the season.
Of the 2 corners that they did get, my money would be on Bryant being the one being good. I think that Woolen has the biggest bust potential of the 2, just because of, man, and you talk about guys that when you look at them, when I look at Woolen, I see a faster version of Trey Flowers. So that's not necessarily a great thing, because you can run really fast, but I guess then maybe you're catching up to guys after they beat you. Or I love the way that he hits guys. I love the speed aspect of it too. he has a lot to learn from me. And hopefully, obviously, with him coming to the Seahawks, it's probably the best possible outcome. But there's a reason why he lasted to the 5th too.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that kind of athletic show off of that he did at the combines, right?
Because if you think back, do you remember Obi Melifonwu? That everybody was like, oh, here's a Seahawks dude. He has all the size thing. He had all the athletic traits. And I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. What is it, 3-4 years later?
I don't think so. It's been a long time since I've heard that name there, Brandon. So, and I, of course we wish Tyreke nothing but amazingness and hey, like, yeah, go be the next Richard Sherman and shut us all up. And at the same time, I just love the fact that, with Kobe, you're bringing in a dude that seems to me like you could put him in, and I don't think he embarrasses himself on an NFL level day one. Like, give him enough time to learn the system and do what he's got to do. Just enough chops, enough time against really solid competition, and go opposite the corner who they just avoided. So, like, teams had no choice. They would go at Bryant over and over and over again because they would never go to Gardner's side. So and the dude showed out. And one more thing. Have you seen the jawline? Have you seen a photo of freaking Kobe Bryant's jawline? Have you taken that in yet?
I think I have, but I don't think I observed it for all that long. It may have just been a cursory glance.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that folks should go Google images of Kobe Bryant and maybe even jawline, and just be ready to be impressed with what this dude's face looks like, because he to me, I'll just give a hint. He looks like he's like chiseled out of I'd say like a thick Marvel hero, his jawline.
Remember when Squidward had did you see the SpongeBob where Squidward had
the handsome Squidward? Yeah.
Handsome Squidward.
Yeah. It's like that, but it's even like wider and like thicker, blockheady, but still in a way that's like, it fits him it's real suitable to him. If there's some 90s comic book fans out there, I'm sure there are some. X-Men. If you remember the character, the time traveling character Bishop. So Bishop kind of came in and out with Cable, and he's just got this gigantic square jawline. And man, oh man, Kobe freaking Bryant. Like, I was like, holy crap, this dude he looks like Bishop. So I don't think I'm giving it away because I don't think people know what he looks like, but please go Google it, check out Kobe's jawline, and tell us what you think. We told you we'd get into the nooks and crannies here, or at least the butter pads, right? So,
I still can't get over the Obi-Wan line that with Obi-Wan Melifonwu, and I am excited to watch the series that's coming out at the end of May now.
Absolutely. I did not know until I think yesterday that it's only a 6-part series, but I don't really. That's like, hey, whatever.
8-part.
It doesn't matter. I'll celebrate the entire collection, right? I watched the trailer. I'm like, holy crap! Like, I'm in. I'm all in. Obi-Wan's amazing. Ewan McGregor's amazing. People pan and trash the prequels. Okay, they're a hell of a lot better than the ones that came. The last 3 that came out. I'll tell you that much. And Ewan McGregor was.
The other part you said was incorrect, but we don't need to get into a Star Wars argument here.
Not a Star Wars podcast, so we'll mosey on. It's okay that I'm right and you're less right on that one. It's just a take. It's okay. But speaking of takes, this is what they call a segue, Brandon. A segue in the industry.
I love how you pulled out of that nosedive. Well done.
we were prepping earlier, and now we're segueing, right?
It's like we're professionals.
Well, hey, listen, when those super chats came in and we made the money as draft professionals, it really uplifted big in the spirits. There is what it did. So the last thing I wanted to call out was kind of like, no matter how you sliced this draft, unless it was the national media, like some of the national media people that go like, oh, it's an F because they didn't
take a quarterback. F minus.
So stupid. They didn't take a work in progress quarterback. Yeah, we got one. That's why we have a big armed work in progress quarterback. We don't need another one. And I did like, before I make the point here, I like Carroll's statement. I think that was yesterday or the day before, that kind of just said, yeah, if Drew Lock was in this class, he'd be the first guy off the board.
That would have been.
Yeah, because because the more you watch Drew Lock, yeah, there's some bad there. Throws off his back foot a lot, but he also puts friggin' balls in some windows that are just straight up pro throws. And again, this cast of characters they're building around him, that like the ability to work the middle and run the friggin' ball. Okay, well,
it's a great cast of characters that Geno Smith will be throwing to.
We shall see. Maybe that's a Dogecoin bet right there. Who who takes the first snap for the Seahawks at quarterback?
I do feel like there is a Team Geno versus Team Drew kind of thing brewing here. It's similar to the Russ. Well, gosh, I think there was a little bit of the let's see what Russ has when Matt Flynn was first signed on. It's like, why do we even get this Russell Wilson guy? Matt Flynn's going to be the guy going into this year, and then he wasn't. But there seems to be more around the Team Geno versus Team Drew here.
Yep, and we got a YouTube comment. Last time you were on, I think that was with DJ with that post draft, and someone called out and said, "Hey," he's like, "Why don't you guys recognize that Geno Smith had like a 103 passer rating, et cetera, et cetera?" And I don't think it's like it's a couple things for me there. I don't think it's like a non-recognition that Geno was at least pretty good in some of that, but I also think it's like, look who we played. Like, look the competition was like,
oh yeah,
Steelers, who were not a good team, Saints, who were like just mediocre teams that we went through that Geno period. And he only beat the Jags. I mean, beat the pants off the Jags, but like it was that little period of play was like, we had to have a few more wins. We didn't get it. He played well versus the Rams until he didn't. And it's like, I think you've said it a million times and Adam said it too. It's like, I think we all know what Geno Smith's ceiling is. And I don't know. I wouldn't be excited about a 6 or 7 or 8 win season as a potential ceiling. Drew Lock, we could go 4-13. I could see that happening.
Sure.
I also think we could maybe win.
And
10
some
games.
People would actually prefer the 4-13 option, I think.
Yeah, I'll take the 4-13 Denver Broncos. That would be the let's ride curse I'd like to have. So, but
if both teams finished 4-13, then man, we would own the draft in 23.
Whatever we want, right? We literally would own the draft and be.
But the best option is for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl with Geno Smith, and then the Broncos to only win 4 games or maybe even 3, and then we get the Denver Broncos first overall pick. And you have the best of both worlds there. You win the Super Bowl and you go into the draft with the first overall pick.
And you tried to sneak in with Geno Smith there, and you probably thought I wasn't listening, but I'm listening. I think the best scenario would be Seahawks win the Super Bowl, but with Drew Lock, because then it's like, okay, well, he's the dude and he's the young guy, so we're good. And then you take your high pick and go do whatever you want with it at that point.
Now one of us is being ridiculous. And I was trying to live in just somewhat, version of reality, but okay.
Right. No problem. So either way, it'd be good.
We can agree on the winning the Super Bowl part.
Yes,
that would be outstanding.
I'm with you on that. And then back to the point that we had gone down to start with was, no matter how you slice the draft, again, besides the national media, who are just they're not focused on areas and regions and what does a team actually need. They're just looking at the big board and didn't take a quarterback, like we said. It was funny. It's like the folks who know Real Hawk Talk and Nemhauser, right? Okay, cool. They were like, oh my gosh, Kenneth Walker. And they're not saying he's a bad player, because I listened to their stuff. They're not like, oh, he stinks. They're like, no, he's really good.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody saying that he's bad.
No,
which is very different than the Rashad Penny argument, because I think everybody, well, a lot of people didn't even watch Rashad Penny going into the draft, which would describe me as a lot of people. And so then it was more of going back after the fact and trying to justify why the Seahawks would have made the pick of Rashad Penny. Whereas this one, I went into the draft knowing that Ken Walker was awesome, and they ended up getting him. So I feel a little bit better about my position and objectivity with regard to Walker this year.
I 100% am with you on that take too, and that train, because when Penny got picked, I was like, all right, okay, who's this guy? And I'm not a huge college football guy. And back then, whatever, that's now 5 drafts ago, right? I paid a lot less attention to the draft process. There was just less information out there, and I was not as into it as I was the last 2 years now. But I'm with you. But you get the real Hawk Talk guys, and again, they're not killing. They think he's a good player, but
Michael Sean, and just not to just
Michael Sean, for sure, right? It's a dumb
and
pick.
Christopher, both of them.
It's not the place to take that value, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I can't. I do not subscribe to that line of thinking when you very likely could go get, like we saw it said, the next Jonathan Taylor, the next Nick Chubb. Dude, every time's a good, wherever you get that guy is a good place. If there's a quote unquote redraft, but what Jonathan Taylor is now, you telling me he doesn't go in the first round? If you rewound the clock, of course he goes in the first round. He probably goes in the top 10 because the value is evident once he's on the field. So you got that, that compartment, but still at the end of their recap, they're like, yeah, but this draft is an A. They're like, he's, that's an issue. Rob Staten, night number 1, you had him on Sullen Room, 3 a.m. something, in the UK, wherever he is at. Not a fan of the Charles Cross pick. And yet when it comes through, he's like, this is an A+. This is an A+ draft. And then you got dudes like EJ from Bootleg Football who put the Seahawks, I think it was Seahawks, Texans, Jets in his top 3 recap to say, these were the elite of the elite. He's like, so many teams did really well. He's like, but these 3 teams absolutely crushed it. And for the Seahawks to be up there, man, like that was the thing that was like, I wanted to kind of unearth and bring out is besides the national media, who I don't think they know what they're actually talking about. People had different takes and maybe 1 or 2 felt a different way about a player, but the overall pool was like, wow, this is a stellar draft. So I wanted to unearth that and present it to you and just say, how does that make you feel?
I like it. Yeah, it does feel like more of the and does it have to do with all of the Rams fan media out there that are just homering for LA and anti-Seahawks? Is that the reason why you see some of these negative grades, or is it really just all about the quarterback and everyone's seeing that as and not everyone, but those people that graded the Seahawks draft lower? Was it just simply that they saw the need at quarterback, they didn't draft a quarterback, and so that was immediately for them a whiff? And to me, that seems like the easiest, lazy kind of explanation of why you would make that choice. So I think that's all it has to do with.
Yeah, that's the lazy national media. And, I get it. If you're covering 32 teams, are you actually covering any of them? Not really, right? It's pretty impossible to do that with depth and with actual knowledge. And I would lump on there to say too, we didn't go get an edge in the first round either. Talk about like, we didn't solve our QB problem and we didn't go sexy. Yeah. We didn't go Jermaine Johnson at 9, right? So it's a combo of, well, Seattle has pass rush issues and they don't have a quarterback. And they waited for, Boye Mafi in the second, and he's a bit of a project. All right. But then you got Tyreke Smith, who is the opposite of a project. He's when I look at him, I was like, oh man, I got really excited last year about the Kerry Hyder signing. I got really excited. I was really into it because I thought that dude, because I watched him the year previous with the Niners, and I was like, man, great target to help us fill in. And he really wasn't good this year. He was very, very underwhelming, and then just one and done with Seattle. With Tyreek Smith, I kind of see the same burst and things like that with Kerry Hyder. However, that doesn't just mean he goes in that hole and that's who he is as a Seahawk. It's like, I'm hoping to be proven wrong there, but also where they took him and the level of play and who he went against, dude, he's also an elite football player, like let's put on earth, like not that many people get to play at Ohio State at that level and then get drafted. We're talking about creme de la creme to begin with. So it was an exciting, it's exciting double dip even there on the edge too. And it's like, that's when I take the step back and look at the last 2 years of drafting for Seattle. We talked about this last time, with Adam, was that like, I really think Pete has mentally flipped a switch with Waldron and changed direction. Obviously, with Russ, it's totally different, but drastically changed what they want to go do offensively while still being true to the Pete Carroll, we're going to run the ball. And I think, and I'm just very, very enthused about we're heading into the summer going, man, this is not nearly as bad a roster as it was, whatever, like rewind 2, 3, 4 months ago. It is substantially better. And that's exciting, man.
Yeah, it is really exciting. And do better to NFL.com for the pop-up videos. Holy smokes.
Just hammering you. Yeah.
So when I looked at comps for, and you said Smith kind of reminded you of Hyder a little bit.
Yeah.
The one comp for me, I went back to Jacob Martin. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Jacob Martin. So, which is a guy that they picked up in the 6th round so many years ago. Was he 6th?
I think he was
part
6th.
of, yeah, good ultimately part of the trade that brought in Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like Jacob Martin. I thought he was a nice piece, and if you're getting a piece like that in the 5th round that could stick around for, 2 NFL contracts, 3 NFL contracts, even if it's with different teams, whatever, then you hit what for a 5th rounder, you hit sure, it's not Sherman, but that's
Jacob Martin. The fact that he's played in the league for this long, that's a hit on as far as draft picks go.
Absolutely a hit. So one last thing I wanted to talk about today was for me a miss. For me, a little bit of a miss. Okay. I don't want to anger the German fans because I don't want to anger any Germans at all. And with that, we had talked about last year when not the schedule came out, but the opponents came out. I was like, oh man, Seattle's in Tampa. I was like, I've got a place down in Florida that I could mosey on down to, and it's just an hour south of Tampa. So I started hitting you and Adam up, right after that came out. I'm like, dude, as long as it's not like Thanksgiving or something stupid like that, like that's it. Let's go to Tampa. Let's go check that out.
That's the road game. Yeah,
that's the road game. It was going to be for me, easy get. And if people wanted to come, then I had a place to host. And then they go and move that game to freaking Germany. So it's I'm pumped for our German fans and folks over in the UK that are going to get there and travel from the States. I'm
this is about you. You're disappointed. You wanted to see it in Florida, and now it's going to happen in Germany. And I feel like you're holding it against the NFL and your feelings and as to why you're already deciding that you're not going to go. Like even I'll wait and see how things go. Maybe I can work it out. You're like, no, it's not happening. I'm not going. There's no way. I'm out.
I was asked on Twitter by Nils, right? And then Christopher Beast Mode 24 out there, who I know are both German. And they're like, oh, are you coming? It'd be awesome to meet you. Which, hey, I'm tickled that you'd like to meet me. That's great. And I would like to meet you. That's awesome. No, I'm not going to go to Germany to watch a football game. Just not happening. So it's, I want to be upfront and honest, and I'd rather provide clarity as opposed to I got to wait and see. I don't want to string anybody along. It's like, folks are going to have a great time.
Be a lot of fun.
I know. Get the giant beers, do the whole thing already, and have the bells ring and whatever the heck happens in Germany. It's all fun. I heard it's a beautiful stadium. I'm sure it'll be a fun time. But no, I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out on the Germany trip early. However, I do pledge to find another game this year. I'm supposed to go to the Houston game this last time, and that just didn't happen. So I will find a game. We don't got to wait too much longer. May 12th, right? We're talking what, Tuesday? Is that
coming up next week? Yeah. We're gonna knock out maybe a live show as the schedule releases. Yeah,
I'm in. I have some baseball. Geez, I got 3 baseball games next week. I coach my son. He's an 11-year-old in Little League. We got 3 games next week, but I think it's Monday, Thursday, Friday next week. So when is the draft? Is it Tuesday?
The schedule release is the 12th.
Yeah, but
they aren't going to draft teams as part of the schedule.
This is not FCF. Yeah, no. I'm all over the map today. But so what is the 12th? Is that a Tuesday? Is that a Wednesday? What is that?
It feels Tuesday-ish to me, but Thursday? I'm not looking at the calendar.
All right, I'm scrolling. It's Thursday. Thursday
It's
12th.
Thursday. Okay, there we go.
This is very compelling compelling stuff.
This is great. We're right at the end, people. We're gonna land this plane here soon.
All right, here's the good news, folks. I don't know if you can see it. You can't. It's all blurry. Doesn't matter. There it is. There it is. In and out. In and out. I have no game on the 12th. I am free on the 12th. I'm in for a live, Seahawkers pod to bring it out on YouTube and do some live reaction and get fired up to see who we're playing that's not over in Germany.
Well, I think with that, Clinton,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.